well, 2 days for sure. The question is if Betsy's well enough to work Christmas Eve, she's going to work Christmas Eve. And if she's not, I'm going to. The idea of John being in that store by himself just does not thrill me. So I told him, Tom and I will come and hang out. We'll just hang out with you for 3 hours. No big deal. Yeah. I'm just like, no, because if you've got customers, the phone ringing, no. I'll just, we may only see 10 people in 3 hours. Who knows? So we are finishing up Your Spiritual Power today. And I think that the title of the last article in the book is really great. So, and what I've decided to do is, since we're practically to the new year, I'm going to do a new design for living. It looks like it's like I could literally do like just very short pieces and I can make that book last for a while. It'll also cut down the time that I'm reading in the morning. Which might be good for me for a little while because sometimes I'm really crunching myself in the morning doing this. Not that I want to stop because I want to keep doing this, but so a new design for living is what I'm going to start tomorrow. And then, so I'm going to finish this today. So let's do the housekeeping. And all the housekeeping is me reminding you that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. Website is creativelife.org. Constant contact email is info@creativelife.org. There was another word beyond that, and whatever it was, I forgot. So, you get one email a week, tells you what's going on for the week and the month. The hot links are hot. If it says click here now, it means it. It'll either take you right to the information of the person that can help you get it. When I say one email a week, I mean it. It's a real person doing it. He just doesn't have time for more than that. Unless something unusual happens, which, because we live on the Gulf Coast, is usually weather related. So other than that, like I said, one email. And, I did say the hot links are hot. It's a blind CC. I was like, what's the last part? It's a blind CC. Nobody's going to see your email. Nobody is going to get your email, so you don't have to worry about that. There was something else I was going to say, but whatever that was, okay, hang on. Okay, let's talk about the social media, because whatever it was, I just don't remember. There's just a lot going on right now, and so my short-term memory is just kind of going, I'm full. So it's just injecting random things. So I'm fine. Trust me. So the social medias, I only mention them because we do not monetize them. We don't want to deal with the ads any more than you do. So what we ask you to do instead is to engage with the pages. Like, subscribe, follow based on which platform you are on, and then engage with the individual posts. So react to the post, comment on the post, share the posts. Today's one of those days that I know I'm being ridiculous, and if you feel like laughing at the post, feel free to, because I know I'm funny. And today I'm just having an extra day, so it's okay. So react to the post. It bumps us in the algorithms. More people see our stuff, which is the whole point of social media. So it is a free and easy way that you can support the center. All right, moving on. So, as I said, we are finishing up Your Spiritual Power. Now, Your Spiritual Power is a collection. Basically, there's a lot of Ernest Holmes material out there, because one of the books that I will eventually get to, but I kind of looked at it and went, yeah, no, that's an undertaking, was the Ernest Holmes papers. But I need a little more time to look at that book. Like, I wouldn't be ready to start it tomorrow. So, but this is a collection of his works that may not be easily found other places. So somebody had the brilliant idea to put them all together in one book. Like that's the very first part of it that we read was on Immortality. I've never seen most of that work before. So I was like, okay. Now 3 of the books in here, Think Your Troubles Away, which is the one we're finishing today, Living Without Fear, and Discover a Richer Life. Those were collections of his early Science of Mind books anyway. So I was like, oh, okay. All right. So I'll be interested to see what this is, because you see William Kinnear's name on it. Okay. So this could also be a collection. So we'll find out tomorrow, because no, I haven't cracked the book yet, which is why I decided to do that one instead of Ernest Holmes, the Ernest Holmes papers, because with the Ernest Holmes papers, yeah, that like even the introduction was long, and I was like, I need a minute to look at this book. Okay, so we are doing Think Your Troubles Away. This is literally the last article in Think Your Troubles Away and the last article in the book. And like I said, it was a combination of his early Science of Mind magazines. Now, what I love is that the last article in Think Your Troubles Away, thus the last article in the book, is called Your Great Experiment. One does not need to be unique to experience a higher degree of spirituality. However, there have been people of all religious faiths who have had spiritual perception, realization, or experience that have far transcended the ordinary experiences of daily living. These people, regardless of how crude or exalted their outward form of theology may have been, have at times so experienced God that God to them was real. This is what inner awareness is. Those who have had such illuminating experiences of inner awareness have told us that they have been able to perceive that there was an absolute correspondence between the visible and invisible worlds. In other words, with the broader, deeper vision of spiritual perception, they have been able to recognize that for every objective manifestation in the physical world, there is what we may call today a subjective or unseen correspondent in the spiritual world. This would imply that we actually see but a reflection of an invisible image. Okay. This has been an experience common to all great mystics who have so greatly influenced the course of religious thought. The great spiritual geniuses of the ages have recognized that there is an invisible correspondent or pattern which is being reflected into what we term objective form. The objective form thus becomes not a thing in itself, but exists as a reflection of a cause which in itself is intangible and is encompassed by neither time nor space. All right. Hang on. That's one of those phrases that you kind of want to go away and think about. All right. The tangible form is a reflection of reality, the ultimate cause and source. There does not appear to be anything in modern science or metaphysics that can, with any degree of validity, disagree with this viewpoint. In fact, there is much today that confirms it. The great problem of modern philosophy, and it was the problem of ancient philosophy, is the query as to how we get our images of thought. The great tendency of modern science is to reach out into the invisible where there are adequate mental causes for this objective world, which we call physical. Modern science supposes a certain hypothetical and theoretical force of alleged motion and movement, which no one knows anything about. This hypothetical and theoretical, but apparently mathematically conceived, operative thing is what we call God or infinite intelligence. I don't think quantum physics was much of a thing when Ernest was writing, so, okay. Because we are intelligent, this infinite intelligence must be the source of our intelligence. Well, I mean, that is logical. Not that most of religion is logical. I do get that. The mind we use is the mind of God functioning at the level of our conception of it. This is what Jesus meant when he said, I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doth the work. Now, if there is a spiritual or mental correspondent in the invisible world for every objective fact, from the greatest poem that was ever written, the greatest song that was ever sung, to the greatest invention, then it naturally follows that not only must there be an invisible prototype or likeness of all that is, which becomes visible according to law, but also, if we can consciously create a prototype, according to the same law, that prototype will project itself into our environment. This is the particular angle of this very idealistic concept of the universe. It was one of the ways that I got around with the idea of pray as if you already have it. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to think about this. I'm going to think that I already have this because according to the mind of God, which everything exists because it's not bound by time, it already exists so I just have to wait and follow the breadcrumbs, as he has said in other work. I just have to wait and follow the breadcrumbs for it to manifest in my physical, experience. Like it already exists in the mind of God. So that's how I can believe that it already exists. It already exists in the mind of God. As long as I'm in alignment with the nature of God, then it already exists in the mind of God. I hope that's helpful. Why then should we not be able to consciously create an image of thought and know that this same law will cause it to be tangibly reflected in our environment? But if the mind never gets beyond the place where it is controlled by its response to its physical environment, past memories, physical environment or past memories, then the images it casts will be limited by these ideas. We say principle's not bound by precedent, but we can bind it to our physical environment or our past memories. We can do that. We can say, nope, I cannot believe that I can't believe beyond this. And then Spirit says, okay. Because that's the thing. Spirit always says yes. So if you limit yourself, then Spirit agrees with you and limits itself in your experience. It doesn't limit itself. It just limits itself in your experience. So, all right. Therein lies one of the apparent mysteries of the philosophy of science of mind, but one we can solve by experiments in our own lives. For the most part, we are hypnotized from the cradle to the grave. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Why do we laugh? Why do we cry and laugh in the theater? Because we allow ourselves to be subject to the emotional reaction of what we witness. A person is a great actor or a great orator who is able to cause us to react, but the influence is more or less hypnotic. In calmer moments, we would say, this is all a show. It is not going to affect me, and it would not. We could always let the intellect decide consciously what the emotion should respond to. If we could always let the intellect decide consciously what the emotion should respond to, we would save ourselves most of our emotional strain, and in all probability, many of our ailments would be practically eliminated because they seem to result from some form of tension or mental disturbance. We experience the physical correspondence of our prototypes, our patterns of thoughts, the prototypes that we have created. And, he's not wrong about a lot of our physical ailments do start mentally, because our emotions do, 1, affect what we eat, 2, affect what we choose to do. So like whether we choose to exercise or not, just to go for a walk. I'm not talking about like massive weightlifting or anything. And exercise definitely affects our hormones, and it affects our inflammation response. And 99.9% of our problems start with inflammation. So, all right, nothing in this world could possibly happen by chance, because the universe is a thing of law and order. Hence, there must be a definite subjective cause for every physical effect. Okay. Hence, there must be a definite physical cause, subjective cause for every physical effect. It does not matter whether a person is a materialist or an idealist. This is a situation that does exist, and sooner or later, one will come to learn the practical aspects of it in daily living. Jesus said, "As thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee." And to make it more empathetic, in the story of the prodigal son, he taught what has been called the reciprocal action between the universe and the particular. There is this thing in the universe which turns to us as we turn to it, through absolute correspondence. Ooh, it's not going to make it. The highlighter is not going to make it. Why then should we not subconsciously and definitely turn to it and provide for the action of the law by mental images, spiritual realization, or images of thought that shall no longer produce discord and harmony? I mean, why not cooperate with it, right? This is what he's saying. This is what the spiritual mind treatment is. If a person turns to the creative spirit within them, which does not foreordain limitations, lack, evil, or destruction, and creates in their thought through interior awareness, through spiritual perception, a mental equivalent of a better physical good, they are practicing the science of mind. And Emma said the same thing in chapter 7. It is necessary in this world that we have the things that make us comfortable in this world. It is not only necessary, it is also right. But if we continue to maintain in our minds thoughts which are uncomfortable, it does not matter how good we are, they become the law of our lives. The law of mind is no respecter of persons. It does not say, this person is good, I will honor them. The law only knows us by reflection, by correspondence. It cannot know us any other way. So we bring what we call good or what we call evil upon us by the very law of our being, which is the law of reflection. Okay. Now, do not get me wrong. I wholeheartedly believe in, relationships. So, we bring this upon ourselves to a degree, but we are also dealing with a situation of we are in relationship with other people, and there are definitely systems of oppression. So that we have built into our cultures, into our societies, into our religions. But if we become aware of that, then we can change that. And that is the most important part about spiritual awareness. Okay. Where are we going to get the ability to make our thoughts become the things we want, to create a happy saturation, unless we come to believe in spiritual equivalence? We shall never discover the principle of life by dissecting a corpse. Well, that was not where I was expecting that to go, but okay, here we are. We shall not find the spiritual principle by dissecting any objective facts. Who, by searching, can find God? It is rather through that still small voice, that inner perception, that interior awareness. Be still and know that I am God. If we wish to demonstrate a greater abundance, it will not be done by continuing to think about lack. And see, that right there is really important. It will not be done by continuing to think about lack. If we want to change our lives, we've got to change what we think about. I gave up and opened the pink one. The purple one just wasn't going to make it. It is not easy to think about happiness when we are unhappy, but we become the servant of our thoughts. As Tagore said, the slave is busy making whips for his master. Wow, I wonder who Tagore is. Tagore, if you want to look him up. Our master is the law of cause and effect. It serves us and then compels us to serve it as we have believed. It is at the same time heaven and hell. It is at once love and hate, freedom and bondage. Because of itself is one law, ready to take any forms our thoughts establish for its action. Watch the life of a person who believes in God and the life of one who does not. The person who has a spiritual conviction lives in a different world from the one who does not have such a conviction. Unfortunately, too often our spiritual convictions come from theological dogmas and have a certain amount of sting in them, and even then they are better than none. I would argue with him about atheists, because I've known many an atheist who is very happy, okay? But it has to do with their mental equivalence, because they don't need, okay, great. Thank you very much. From the time of Rumi, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. I've known many atheists that are actually really happy because they're not bound up in the theological dogmas. They're not caught up in the nonsense that a lot of us, they've just straight up rejected it. And so they've gone on to, well, how do they believe? And so their mental equivalents are really good. I'm not sure Ernest would agree with me, but I don't know how many atheists that he knew. And atheists are definitely happier than agnostics, because agnostics are questioning. Okay. All right. Moving on. How shall we find the equivalent of certainty? Oh, wait. No, there's not. I left out of. Okay. So there is no person on earth who is so forlorn as a materialist. There is nothing in this world so sad as unbelief. And see, I would argue that atheists do have a really strong belief, and it's not necessarily material. If you're familiar with Penn and Teller, I forget which one's Penn and which one's Teller, but the tall one, he's an atheist. Check out what he has to say about being an atheist if you're curious. I think he would love Ernest. And I think Ernest would be fascinated by him. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to go back to that paragraph. How shall we find the equivalent of certainty? By so contemplating the eternal verities that doubt disappears. We shall find the equivalent of life and immortality by so dwelling on the idea that the principle of life cannot conceive death until the intellect perceives it and the mind accepts it. We go about seeking the fulfillment of joy, of peace, of certainty, and of security. This is what the world wants, but we think these things are objective. They are not. Real as they are, they did not create themselves. They are but effects of a spiritual cause, which is an idea created by an act in the mind. Okay. They are not. Every now and again, I cannot predict where he's going to go. They are not. When all the world shall know that there is nothing to be afraid of, fear will disappear from the human mind forever, and not until then. But we cannot wait for that time. But we cannot wait for that time. I like it. We must definitely and deliberately decide whether or not we are going to be afraid of anything. That is our decision. No one can make it for us. Nor is there any power in heaven or any belief in hell that can withhold the results of our decision from us. We must right now develop this interior awareness, this spiritual perception, which is a very real thing. If we embody the idea of confusion, we shall become confused. But if we entertain the idea of peace long enough, we shall become peaceful. When we know freedom, freedom is ours. It so happens in our lives that as we gradually discard and do away with discord, harmony then sits like a wreath of benediction on our brows. Every now and again, he has this real poetic term. That was a good one. Can we, in the midst of the crowd, as Emerson said, keep with perfect sweetness the independence of our solitude? As we walk on the sidewalks of the city, can we stop seeing that which we no longer wish to experience and mentally embody only those ideas which we wish to experience? That is what practice is. Spiritual mind treatment is for the purpose of consciously creating those states of mind which we should like to see tangibly manifest in the objective world. Ooh. If we want to be prosperous, we must think nothing but success, no matter how much failure appears. If we want to gradually gravitate into the atmosphere of friendliness and love, we must know that the universe is our friend. And if some person appears not to be friendly, we must utterly disregard it. We can convince the mind that our unity with spirit is absolute. Therefore, we are now unifying with our good forevermore. Our mind is an experimental laboratory. That I know. In it, we can definitely prove for ourselves by specifically repudiating certain negative thoughts and dwelling on their opposites, that the eternal verities are real and ever present, that life is good, happy, complete, radiant, and strong, that all the good there is right here. Our mental equivalents, our spiritual concepts, our interior awarenesses are causative prototypes in the mind. They are not illusions, and our dynamic acceptance of them as realities causes the great universal law to project a likeness of our acceptance on the screen of our experiences. Wow. And that is how this ends. With that amazing sentence. Our mental equivalents, our spiritual concepts, our interior awarenesses are causative prototypes in the mind. They are not illusions. And our dynamic acceptance of them as realities causes the great universal law to project a likeness of our acceptance on the screen of our experience. Seriously, I think that is why he called us practitioners. Because it is up to us to practice. Practice what it is that we want to see in the world. It's one of the reasons why I love the phrase, be the change you wish to see in the world. It's like whatever it is that you want to see in the world, that's what you've got to be. And believe it so completely that the universe, that the infinite, that the source of your own being has no choice but to present it to you. Okay, on the screen of our experiences. All right, that is it. We are done with Think Your Troubles Away, and we are done with Your Spiritual Power. That was a lot. That was great. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Now, we are going to start with a new design for living tomorrow, because I'm not ready to give up Ernest Holmes, and as many of his works as we can get audible copies of, I think the world is a better place for it. So, It is my small service. All right, beloveds. I am going to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day. You got this day. I hope you have a short week as well day. I know that all of your chores are taken care of. All of your shopping is done. Your decorating is done. Your baking is done, or at least far enough along in the process that you got this day. Okay. Drink plenty of water day. Enjoy the weather that you've got day. It's going to be 80 degrees here today. So, we're going to enjoy it, right? Go listen to the birds sing day, enjoy some amazing music day, eat something that tastes really good day, even if it's not necessarily, well, you know what? Every now and again, something that tastes really good is good for you day. Cuddle your fur babies day. Tell somebody you love them day. Go hug a friend day. Whatever kind of day you need to have day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, and I do understand it is the holiday season, sometimes it is, simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are spirit in motion, God in action, a brilliant light, a divine spark, a beautiful masterpiece, and a work in progress at the same time, at your own pace. Never compare yourself to anybody else. As they say, it is the thief of joy. And as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. So explore the truth of your being. Get to know who the divine knows you to be, because the divine knows you to be good. And from there, anything is possible. Anything at all is possible. All right. Explore the truth of your being. Yep. I mean, that's really, it's what we're here for, right? To explore the truth of our own being. All right, beloveds. I'm getting, my goal for next year is to get weirder. So who knows what that's going to look like. And when I say weirder, I do mean the WEIRD, because I'm already weird enough, but I also mean in the WYRD. I'm going to lean into that. I'm going to lean into the mystic this year. All right, beloveds. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I'll be back around 9:15. And like I said, we're starting a new design for living. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved. And I will see you next time. Thank you very much. I'm glad that it is